Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. I've got Brenda Rathbone with us tonight. She's a fascinating individual because she's committed to dealing with climate change and sustainability issues at a time where it would appear that it's sort of a little bit out of fashion. She's got a background in real estate and in appraisals. She's done some programs at MIT in regards to sustainability. She's putting together some online vehicles to help people with greening their properties and proving to mortgage holders and others that their properties are green. And as I said, it's sort of at this time where sustainability, where greening, where climate change and all those issues are a little bit out of fashion, given what's happened in the last election and the elimination of the consumer carbon tax, et cetera. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to check in with Brenda and see what she's doing and why she's passionate about this and what's going on. So Brenda, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you, everyone. Yes, so I have a real estate appraisal background and appraisal management background, but let's focus on the appraisal background. I and I have an extreme passion for sustainability and this green movement for the past 30.
Why do you have a passion for sustainability in the green movement?
As a teenager, I majored in geography was my favorite subject, and I love the outdoors. Naturally, I'm a Taurus, and we're an Earth sign, so we love the outdoors. And I don't know, there's a connection. I remember when I was 15, I was taking a course in fine arts, and I had to draw a picture. We were studying horizon lines. At 15 years old, I painted a painting of urbanization encroachment on farmlands. Like, who thinks like that at 15? I don't know. It must be a mission in my life. It's definitely, it holds value in my life, but I just I Mother Earth, right? And I just support it, and I see what's going on in the world. And even today we have a heat warning, extreme heat warning. It's going to be the highest in what 2 years or.
So some people think that, heat warnings and tornadoes and wildfires and stuff like this are just natural. Other people think that they're more extreme today and more often today because of climate change. What's your opinion?
Well, it's quite interesting because I was speaking with somebody. I was pitching an idea to a potential client, and he said, "I don't believe in climate change." And interesting enough, he lives in LA. A week later, wildfires came, and then he contacted me. He said, "What do I do? What do I do to prevent the spread?" Right? And he FaceTimed me, and I said, "You've got wood chips all over your property. Like, are you kidding me? You got to get clear of the vegetation." Anyway, people are in denial, but we have, the Paris Agreement in 2015, we to remain below 1.5 degrees above, and I think what I read recently is that we have 3 months left of our carbon budget to left. So now we're in the next degrees up. We're 1.5 to 2 degrees.
So explain to me, if you could,
Hmm.
why you think this is out of favor today. In the last election, not only the Conservatives but the Liberals as well committed to eliminating the consumer carbon tax. Carbon tax became a swear word almost, the third rail of politics in Canada. And yet most economists think that the best way possible to diminish our use of carbon and deal with climate change is through taxing it by way of a carbon tax. There is people that are denying that climate change is real, particularly in the United States, but also, on the right wing. And the Green Party had its sort of most dismal showing ever in the last provincial election, the last federal election. So why, if you're so convinced that that climate change is real, that dealing with carbon is important, is this out of favor right now?
I agree with you. And as an evaluator, it's difficult to um, difficult to appraise properties and even real estate agents as well. Um, there's such unawareness out there for one thing, and people are just they don't care. They want convenience. They buy generators that are fueled by natural gas. Why? Because they want the convenience of the same comforts they have during a blackout, right? Um, but it's all about resiliency. It's all about adaptation. Uh, it's my belief that climate change is here, and and in the next incremental of 1.5 to 2 degrees above, um, uh, wildfires are going to increase, severe weather is going to increase, flooding is going to increase, and the insurance companies. This is the main answer to your question. Our insurance companies are increasing their premiums in high risk zone in properties that are in high risk zones.
So my company has developments in Florida. It's almost impossible to get insurance in some areas near the coast because of the projection of increased hurricane risk. And I think that some of the press reports of people that are for the first time in a long time actually leaving coastal areas in Florida is scary. That they've had so many hurricanes and they've been inundated so often. I don't remember wildfires previously, and there must have been, but like the last 2 years, we've had smoke that's like blanketed Toronto, and people in New York and Boston have complained about smoke from Canada going all the way down there and blanketing their skies. Are we just living in denial? Are we just not like realizing what's going on, or what do you think's going on?
Of course, we're living in denial for sure. We want the same comforts. We don't want to change. We don't want to put any money. Like, look what's going on in the world right now. People don't have disposable income to put into their home. So with the increased insurance rates, it's going to when the progression. I'm foresighting like this is the future. Mortgage rates are going to be based on your home efficiency as well. They've got targets to meet. They have disclosures. Banks have disclosures to make. Um, and they are going to give premiums to people, to homeowners that have, and incentives that of people that have done some energy retrofitting to their homes, and they have energy scoring. So if you see in the EU, every property listed has an energy rating, and it's not used for valuation per se, but it's used more for information to the purchaser, to the homeowner.
But I think you're right that it is used for insurance purposes, and I agree with you. In Europe, it is interesting that companies are required to get a sustainability or energy rating, and in addition to it being used for insurance purposes, there are a lot of tenants that will refuse to lease space from landlords unless their buildings are energy compliant.
Yeah, I was in France in September, and I looked at all the listings on, walking down the street, all the real estate agencies, and it's amazing. If I were a purchaser, I would definitely, especially energy is scarce in Europe. It's more expensive in Europe. Um, and with the geopolitics involved in energy in Europe, I would be choosing the property with a lower energy score for sure. But sorry, dog. And but with homeowners in Canada, we don't have energy scarcity. We don't care. We're energy pigs. We're garbage pigs. We don't care. We have water. We don't have to worry about anything. So the message that I want to portray to homeowners is preparedness and awareness. When do most homeowners get a new furnace? And minus 20-degree weather when their furnace breaks, right? And where do they go to, or who's promoting the best deal is, the big box stores or their gas company. And what do? They go back in the cycle of buying a carbon a fueled furnace.
So, what do you think the right solution is? That we all go electric, or what's it called? Geo something or other?
A geothermal, no. Well, heat pumps. See, there's a lot of advertising right now for heat pumps in Canada, but there's a stigma to heat pumps. Is it going to keep me warm in the winter? I'll give you an example of my girlfriend's husband approached me a couple of months ago and said, my furnace is 30 years old. It needs to be replaced. What do I do? And I said, did you not install 5 heat pumps in your 3-story, 100-year-old house that doesn't have duct work for air conditioning? And he said, yeah. And I said, use that for your shoulder seasons. And I'm supporting a smaller gas furnace for the days that it's extremely cold for backup. So you can use your heat pump for shoulder seasons and for heat, and you're not relying so much on your gas. So he didn't even think about that because people getting heat pumps just for air conditioning, but no, you can use in your shoulder seasons. So,
So explain to everyone what a heat pump is, because not everyone is familiar with it, please.
well, it is an electrical unit that is affixed outside, just like an air conditioning unit. They're usually suspended off the ground. The ductwork is suspended off the ground within your home. So that's a bonus to homeowners. And that's what I'll pitch one day for decorating, right? You don't have to worry about things on your floor anymore. It's on the wall. So it's great. You can put a couch in that space now as a joke. But they are highly efficient. Um, they save energy, money to the home. Your average utility bill, and it's just the way of electrification. Electrification is the way of the future, and that's being promoted. So, but
So I bought a hybrid car because I really liked the cost economics of running on the electrical battery. And when the carbon taxes were there, I think my payback was a couple of years. It doubled. My payback doubled when the carbon tax went away and gas became a lot cheaper. And so therefore the economic incentive for being, environmentally sustainable and smart, diminished dramatically. Was that a smart move, taking away the consumer carbon tax?
Okay, I don't want to get into politics here. Probably not for this movement, not for their net zero 2050 target. It's making it more difficult. So what I think is going to be the message is not is not elimination of carbon tax, is that we have to, there's a new movement moving in holistically of homeowners for the future, and it's wellness, it's home comfort. And if you have okay, I'm more passionate about existing homes. I currently live in a 100-year-old home in the middle of Toronto,
A
and it's
100-year-old home, really?
extremely inefficient. But
Have you replaced all the windows?
they were replaced in 1990, so everything has to be replaced in this house. Anyway, the electrification is the movement. There's a big message out there that isn't getting out there, is that yes, heat pumps are being advertised, but does your 100-year-old electrification system in your home, or your breaker panel, when was it last updated? And they're saying now if your electrical panel is over 30 years old, you need to replace it.
Well, I think a lot of people are replacing it just because they need EV chargers, if not something for the hot tub and some of the current appliances that people are buying that need a lot more power than they were getting previously. We're going to take a break for some messages and be back in 2 minutes with Brenda Rathbone talking about climate change. Is it real? Sustainability, is it still something we should be concerned about? And her practical experience in actually talking to homeowners and visiting Europe and being in a program in Boston at MIT about sustainability. And is this a thing of the past, or is it a thing of the future? Because I think that's something we're going to have to face. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back in just 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. We're talking about climate change, the environment. We've got Brenda Rathbone with us tonight, and she's got an interesting sort of viewpoint on this because she's historically been a home appraiser, and she currently believes that homes are going to be appraised and valued in the future based on their sustainability, and that's happening in Europe already, and certainly happening in buildings. and that insurance is going to be based on that, which is sort of going to be like a carbon tax. It's going to be higher insurance for homes that aren't sustainable. I think we also get that just from an energy efficiency standpoint, where we're spending more money on heat and oil and gas and electricity if we're not energy efficient. So lots of us have put more insulation in our ceilings and more more efficient windows, etc. Brenda, I interviewed Diane Sachs, who's a councillor on Toronto City Council and a former environmental commissioner for the province of Ontario. And she was saying solar is the solution. And she said, and I was surprised by this, she said that solar, the cost of solar panels have come down more than Moore's law would have suggested. And she says a lot of us just don't realize that. They don't realize how dramatically the solar installations have come down dramatically, and that she expects it will continue to do so. She also said that a generation ago, she was against nuclear energy because of the concerns about nuclear waste. And she said today, we got to remember that 20 years ago, smog in Toronto was a big issue, and it's gone away completely because we've gotten rid of our coal-fired plants and replaced them with our nuclear power plants. And she's very supportive of increased nuclear in the future. And then finally, she said that she thought that oil and gas, we were at sort of peak, and if not at peak, close to peak. And so therefore, all of this attention to pipelines is really an issue for the past, not an issue for the future. And what we should be doing is thinking about how we're going to actually produce enough electricity to power our homes, power these electric cars, power all these appliances that you're talking about, the heat pumps, etc. What do you think of all that?
Well, I think I'm happy to hear that we are using a cleaner grid, electrical grid, which is awesome. With the gas, I think it's just going to be a technological phase out, with just like the incandescent light bulb, right? It took 2 years to phase that out. And just slowly with technology, it's going to be integrated into our mainstream purchasing and home purchasing. So again, talking about the wellness of the home, that is a movement that a lot of the movement's trying to support. If people take care of their health, they watch what they eat, they exercise. Why? Because they're taking care of themselves. They have no idea that toxins in their home are more potent than eating McDonald's French fries. So, or
Toxins.
whatever.
Hold it. Toxins in our home. What are the toxins in our home?
Oh, our carpet, hardwood floors, the materials.
I love a hardwood floor.
Depends on where the hardwood floor is. If it's not, it depends on how it was produced. So the toxins emit, I'm not going to get technical because I don't really know, but formaldehyde, whatever, just whatever the toxins are. Paint is actually really bad for you. So they promote a green paint. Does it give value? No, but it gives comfort. So we're going to get to the question of what is value to a homeowner. Everyone's different, right?
So what advice do you give home purchasers? What should they be thinking about looking for when they're thinking about buying a home?
It all depends. Well, I don't sell real estate, but education is a big thing. Awareness is a big thing that is not being tackled.
Education about energy efficiency, about sustainability, about toxic materials, etc.
No, not that. Just the progression of how homes are going to be in 10 years from now. I can see how the home is going to be. And look at what COVID did to the home. Okay. For one thing, in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, people were spending 50 to 60% of their time outside their home because they worked. They worked long hours, 10-hour shifts, whatever. Now we're spending 75% time in our homes. Okay.
I wish I'm in the office way too much, but okay, go on.
75%. Our homes have been, in the past 3 years, our homes have been repurposed. They've been changed. Now a dining room has been converted to either, depending on your space, but rooms are being repurposed, dual purposed. Okay. It just kind of happened. Um,
A lot of homes today don't even have dining rooms. They're sort of considered, a time of bygone eras that people eat in the kitchen or at the kitchen island.
that's true. I actually made my dining room into my family room because I don't have big family dinners anymore, for sure. Repurposing your room, repurposing the home. The home is being changed. The designs are being changed to accommodate lifestyle, different lifestyles. And we're spending more time at our home. And yes, there are toxins in our home. Think of why do we have an exhaust fan over our gas range in our kitchen? Why do we have carbon monoxide detectors in our house? Why? Because of the carbon, right? Carbon dioxide. So for those that matter, but think about your paint. Think about there's embodied carbon in materials in your home. And that's why, you can buy sustainable products now that that don't have embodied carbon. But your carpet, depending on where your carpet's from, depending on what type of material it is, but mainstream carpet is basically plastic. Think about that. So anyway, there's a movement on the holistic, the wellness, the home. You think about, you're gonna have a salad for lunch because you're taking care of your body, but think about what you're breathing in your home, that you're in home 75% of your life.
So
So
someone should come up with an app that analyzes homes for all of these items.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but anyway,
I thought that's something you're doing. No?
I'm going to create a uh, really fun episodes on YouTube with my daughter, who I have two daughters. One I have they one pays the hydro bill in the house, and one pays our gas bill in the house. And during the winter, the one that pays the gas complains and screams, this cost to be too much, right? And the hot water tank and everything, right? So she puts these portable heaters around the house, electrical heaters. So the other daughter pays for the electricity. Anyway,
And then
I
complains in the summertime when the air conditioner's on.
oh no, yeah, it's a joke, but it's funny. It's a funny spoof to get your kids to realize it. But I think the progression of home ownership, homes are going to change, and just like we are spending more time at our home. We have offices now that are in a corner of our bedrooms. Um, Condos are being built for the sole purpose of of the repurposed and lifestyle. For homeowners. And and I just think technology is going to just phase its way into it.
So, it sounds like you think that sort of remote work, hybrid work that we, certainly had during COVID, where people were working from their home all the time, is going to continue. People aren't going to go back to the office, or certainly aren't going to go back to the office full time. Is that what you believe? We're
I,
going to be using our homes as a sort of as a remote office long term?
for sure. And what about homeschooling too, right? During the progression of that. And yeah, I think so for sure.
That's interesting. And so, should home builders be thinking more of offices and dens and desks and things like that?
Should offices be?
No, should contractors, developers, home builders, condo
Yeah,
builders be thinking about making sure that there is that
yeah,
flexibility for home work?
for sure. It's adaptivity and flexibility in design for sure. Yes.
You said that you were in France last year and you noticed a whole bunch of real estate brokerage profile signs, descriptions of sustainability. I've been aware of the development industry in Europe, and they are demanding high energy efficiency and sustainability, and even statements on ESG, environment, society, and governance issues that has sort of completely gone away in the United States, particularly, but also in Canada. So, do you think that this change for sustainability, ESG, et cetera, in Europe is going to come back to North America? Maybe once Donald Trump is gone and attitudes change, or no, the current attitudes that are sort of prevalent in Canada and the United States are going to go to Europe?
I believe there is a huge movement in the United States And I follow it, and they're a lot of these organizations are so disappointed, and they're trying to figure out how are we going to sell homeowners not on sustainability and climate change and all that. And this is a big thing because it's negative, it's scary. Like people don't like the word risk, right? Or change. They don't want to change. So, and that's they're thinking they're trying to twist the movement around into and again that wellness and whole home and that approach and
So it's
make
not about sustainability, it's about wellness.
that is the way that the currently some organizations in the US are trying to manipulate it and trying to spin it around into that angle to make it more approachable. But there's already a lot of states that have systems in place already and they're sticking with it. They're staying with their targets.
So California is one still has an electrical vehicle mandate that other people, some people think is crazy. Other people think, well, no, that's the future. And so therefore we got to anticipate the future. It's the old Wayne Gretzky comment about don't skate where the puck is, skate where the puck is going to be. So do you think that, 10 years from now, 7 years from now, 5 years from now, we're going to have back more attention to carbon taxes, sustainability, environmentalism, reducing carbon footprint, etc.?
For sure, because I think more homes are going to be damaged by severe weather. I think insurance rates are going to be up. If the banks get in queue with this as well, increasing their rates, and also tax assessment, municipal assessment boards are going to get in on it too. So if your property isn't sustainable, resilient, you're going to get targeted. You're going to be hit. So carbon tax is one way, but there's other ways as well to get homeowners from behind. But I think my most important message is awareness. And it not only has to come, it's just awareness to the homeowner. How old, have them create a plan. How old is your electrical panel? How old is your furnace? So you're not replacing it when it has to be, when it falls apart. And same with your hot water tank. Those are the two main sources of emissions in a home. And are your appliances? How old are your appliances? Rethink, plan what your next purchase is going to be
To get
for
more energy efficient appliances.
efficient. But if policy comes into place, just like the incandescent light bulb, if policy comes in the next 5 years and you just bought a new natural gas forced air furnace from on sale at big box store, like, and think about the potential policy changes, okay? Because it will come. We're going to have more severe weather. It's just going to get worse. Insurance rates are going to go up. It will. This is my belief that it has to happen. So why not be proactive now? And think about the resale market. I'm all about resale. When I buy a house, the first thing I think, who's going to buy my house? Who's going to buy your house? If you're an existing homeowner and you just bought a new gas furnace, yeah, it's great, but or you need replacement. So a friend of mine was thinking about purchasing a home. It needed every system in the house to be replaced. I said, you have to adapt to future changes for the uncertainty of.
Brenda Rathbone, this is fascinating. We're going to take another break for some commercial messages. Hopefully not from a company trying to sell us an old furnace, but we'll see. And be back with Brenda in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Interesting conversation tonight. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. I'm having a lot of fun chatting with Brenda Rathbone today and challenging her about whether environmentalism, sustainability, climate change is a thing of the past or whether it's a thing of the future. And she firmly believes that it's a thing of the future, that we've got to get our increase in the temperature down. The Paris Accord, as she mentioned, was less than a 1.5% increase in Celsius of worldwide global temperatures. We're way above that right now, and we've got to try to get it back down. My sister, by the way, Brenda, is the former Assistant Deputy Minister of the Environment for the country of Canada, federal government, and she thinks that we got to get it down to zero. 1.5 is not enough. And so that's kind of interesting. So How are we going to do this? You were mentioning that there's something called IDIs. What's an IDI?
IDIs. Okay. Homeowners should know what their IDIs are. What's your adaptability and flexibility for future severe weather? It's going to happen. It's happening. We have a heat warning today. So, is the design adjustable to future uncertainties, i.e., my COVID example, how homes are being repurposed, rooms are being repurposed, right? Um, so the flexibility of the design of your home, a growing family too. You have flexibility for a growing family or a shrinking family as well. The resiliency of your property. I love to use the analogy of the story of the three little pigs. Do you live in a straw house? Do you live in a wood house or a brick house? Okay.
And
Think
which should you?
I like the brick house. I don't want to have my things blown away. So
And what you're
yes.
suggesting, a lot of
So
people
think
are in
about your
straw
house,
houses or wood houses?
straw houses, wood houses, or brick houses.
But what? Are you worried that too many people are in straw and wood?
No, but think about how, okay, insurance companies, for one thing, in Florida, they make sure for an asphalt roof, they have to be double nailed for insurance, double nailed for a hurricane. And I think that code is coming up, is here now. Someone will have to correct me on that. But double nail, so your roof doesn't blow off. Also, roof design is really interesting. If you have a hip roof is great roof because it's held by four corners of the house. A flat roof, it's only four two ends are stabilize the roof. So there you go with the resiliency of a hurricane or a rainstorm, or even in the city of Toronto, where most people are. You know, you could do it yourself home planning for a potential flood. We won't get into that now, but that's the resiliency of your home. Okay. For Toronto, we worry about flooding. Out west, you worry about wildfires. It's like my friend in LA who has the worst stuff of vegetation around his home and wood chips that will just burn and affect his home. Okay, then there's the functionality. Functionality is making daily life easier, more efficient, more enjoyable in your home. And again, how the design of your home. That may not go into the sustainability side, but it all kind of works out to also with stages of life that you're in. Practicality of what you are upgrading. I recommend a start small and think big. So start small, just start on one item at a time. You don't need to totally retrofit your home, but do it in phased out. So and it has to be practical for your budget as well, and timeline it. Durability of your materials, either exterior or interior. The affordability again. Don't buy something that the marketplace cannot, like, always think of resale. Don't buy the most expensive smart home unit because that technology will be obsolete in 5 years. So think about that. Durability. Also, a lot of smart home technology is based on Wi-Fi, and if your Wi-Fi goes down, so you got to have a plan, right? What if my Wi-Fi goes down? Oh my God, I can't even turn a light switch on, or my thermostat doesn't work. So there, you got to, when you purchase these items, really think about the future, and prepare yourself for it. So research what you're going to put into your home. And then my main thing is resellability, which is the resale value. Who is going to buy your home? And what are the current policies do you foresee in that? So always be prepared, awareness, and
Those are some great suggestions. Now, some people will counter that and say a lot of people that are, addressing some of these issues are, I think the term was greenwashing. And this was a sort of a popular term. And, even in the United States in regards to ESG, some people thought that people were taking diversity too far and were sort of doing it just to say they were doing it rather than really doing it. Is that a concern that you've got, that people are greenwashing, or are they really doing this, environmentalism, sustainability for good reasons?
It all depends on what they value, right? It's their personal value. If their home comfort and wellness within their home, and they want to be 2 minutes away from public transportation, um, if they want green space, it's that's their value. But and also your age group too determines that as well. So um, it's very subjective. Um,
Well, I've got adult children myself, and I worry that we're going to be living them a world that's got a lot more challenges than we were left in regards to debt and deficit and wars and climate change. And they're going to have to deal with that. And so one of the things that we can do is address some of the climate change issues. Let me ask you a question. You know, you talk a good game. Do you live it? Do you actually practice what you preach?
I do. I do my best. I have a rental. I rent this home, and so what I've done as a renter is that I've put water bottles in all my toilets to make them lower flush because this house was renovated in the 90s. I get spray foam insulate. I do my own do it yourself. I'm pretty handy. I noticed that my kitchen floor was very cold, and I went outside, looked at the brickwork, and I got a can of spray foam insulation, found a ton of holes in the mortar, filled them up. Um, I hang dry a lot of my clothes. I use most of my electrical appliances after peak hours. I try to do my best in a home that I don't have any control over. But I do and I have my daughters pay utility bills. That's great. Joking, but
You use sort of personal wellness as a example for what we have to think about in regards to home wellness. Are you a nutritionist? Do you exercise? Tell me about your personal
oh,
wellness situation. Do you apply that there as well?
I live in an area that I back onto a beautiful trail in the middle of Toronto. I have two dogs and I walk in nature every day. So that is my wellness. I can only live in a property that has green space, in a neighborhood that has green space. And I'm close. I'm within walking distance to all my grocery stores. Yeah. And every Sunday, I raised my children saying, today is Earth Sunday. And I would take them in a wagon and we go grocery shopping. I load the groceries on top of them. They thought it was fun. And, but you think about where you're going to live for sure
And
and what you need, what's valued to you.
and you said you're going to have a salad for lunch. Do you really? I like a pizza for lunch. Do you really going to have a salad for lunch?
No, no, not at all. No. No, I eat, yes, I eat burgers, I eat everything, but yeah, no, I'm concerned. I don't, my daughter has celiac disease, so we're pretty clean in this house of anything that's toxic or seed oils aren't good. I've been told everything's organic in my house, but
So, Brenda Rathbone, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I think that it's been very helpful for everyone to get a sense of, you know, what you believe in regards to the resaleability of a home, and that is improved by the fact if it's more sustainable, that it's more energy efficient, that it's got appropriate appliances, and I think it really does come down to anticipate where the world is going and be mindful of that. Even if, frankly, you'd rather it not change, it will change, and I do think that Europe has stuck on this sustainability track, even if Canada and the United States have taken a step back from that, and to say that current political flavor in Canada will continue, I think is questionable, and we need to be mindful of that. And so I think that you've raised a lot of questions and good ones in regards to insurance premiums, and energy efficiency and electricity and things like that. And so I really appreciate you joining us today and talking a little bit about that. Thank you very much.
thank you for having me. Thank you.
We're going to take a break now, and I'm going to come back with some of my own concluding comments on where we are in regards to climate change and carbon taxes and sustainability, because I firmly believe Brenda's right. And I think we need to be far more mindful of this. And I do think that we are in a time where some of these issues have taken a back seat, but I don't think it's going to last forever. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. And even people, I was out in Alberta recently, even most people I've spoken with in the oil and gas business are very mindful of carbon capture, about environmental issues, about spills, and I think I was surprised, and you'd be surprised at how they are real believers in climate change. They're not climate change deniers, and they've got a whole bunch of strategies on what they think needs to be done to make sure that that even our oil and gas business is built on a sustainable basis. So I'm going to be back in 2 minutes with some of my own thoughts on this topic. Stay with us, everybody. Back in 2.